Hello friends, welcome back. After the meeting in Latvia, I have decided to add one more day to the topic of love and relationships. Let me get straight to the point. We have discovered that while exploring the area of love and relationship, we discovered that many of the problems like boredom with the same partner, or the feeling that I know this guy like, or I know her, and there is nothing new to explore, or the accumulation of past, and all of these problems, even if it looks like they are multitudes of problems, but they are all coming from one seed, and that seed is what we would call unconsciousness. And however, that unconsciousness exists on the spiritual level, and the effects are seen on the social dimension. So the solution for that, we already talked, there is no other option but to raise our level of alertness and consciousness and awareness. And so that means the solution to many of those social problems, it lies on the spiritual dimension. But today I want to come back right to the social dimension, something very practical. Like, one of the causes of suffering people have in personal relationships and in their marriages is communication. And what I am about to say now, it does not apply, or it is not only limited to personal relationship, but the same thing applies in all our relationships, all communications, whether it is with our friends, or with our relatives, close relatives, or at the office with our colleagues. So although I am including it in the topic of personal relationship and love, the insights that we discuss here, they will be applicable in all areas of life. Now, before we go on, I would like you to watch this short video, which I have captured somewhere from YouTube, and I have added to our video. Please watch this video, and I'll be back.
Эта пицца очень вкусная.
Смотри, здесь есть макароны с курицей тоже.
О, выбирай, что хочешь.
Серьезно?
Да.
Здесь прохладно, да?
Нет, все нормально.
Sir, are you ready with the order?
Я хочу вегетарианскую пиццу и суп по-тайски.
Я возьму это.
Да, это гриль-сэндвич. Хороший выбор.
Hope you enjoyed your meal, ma'am.
Yeah, thanks.
Да, все было очень вкусно. Что случилось, дорогая?
Еда была вкусна, но твое поведение нет.
Что я сделал?
Я просила тебя пойти к менеджеру и спросить закрыть кондиционера. Или сделать потеплее, или принести мою шаль из машины. Но ты ничего не сделал.
Когда ты мне все это сказала?
Я говорила, здесь холодно. Здесь прохладно, да?
Нет, все нормально. Ага, ты хотела это сказать.
Пойдем. Я поспешно собралась.
Наконец, ты готова? Пойдем, такси ждет. Что случилось, дорогая? Ты расстроена?
Я не должна ничего от тебя ожидать. Не получу от тебя похвалы, даже если заслуживаю.
Когда ты спросила?
Я спросила тебя, мое платье выглядит хорошо, подходит, мои волосы окей, я выгляжу прилично.
Когда? Когда?
Я сказала тебе, когда я вышла, я поспешно собралась. Не сказала?
Но, малышка, ты всегда выглядишь прекрасно.
Well, the video appears to be funny, isn't it? I hope you had some fun watching that video. Well, it appears funny, but it is so real, isn't it? Like, I myself have experienced that, and not only in personal relationships, but also with friends and close relatives, and I'm sure you also must have experienced that. One of the reasons we don't get what we want from another person is because we just don't ask them. We assume that they should know. We want the world to read between lines. We want the world to assume what we want, what are our thoughts, and then respond to that. Well, friends, that's not how the world works, and that is not what the communication is meant for. The real goal of communication is not to say whatever you want. No, that will be simply blabbering out. Simply throwing away your thoughts to the world. The true goal of communication is to get a desired response from another person without causing damage, or at least causing minimal damage to the person or the harmony of the situation. So to get response, that is the real goal of communication. Back in the 1990s, precisely in the year 1993, I came across the work of two people I was so impressed with at that time. They were John Grinder and Richard Bandler. They are the creators of what is now famous neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, and it was supposed to be a revolution in the technology of communication between people, how brain works and all that stuff. Anyway, that is not our topic, but the reason I'm bringing that here is because I loved, I threw out rest of the NLP. I don't use it anymore because I don't find it worthy enough. But the one thing that I still stick to is their definition of communication. I love it so much, and it is so true. The way they described is the meaning of communication is the response you get. That means, let's say if you ask for something but you didn't get, so you didn't convey it. Simply saying that I want this, you haven't conveyed the message that I should get that. The meaning of communication, what you communicate, how it is taken by another person, is what response you get from that person, right? Well, coming back to our topic of communication between people in personal relationships, I would say that for some reason people maybe consciously or unconsciously, they love to communicate indirectly, assuming they leave it on other people to understand what they want, instead of being very direct about it. For example, instead of asking exactly what you want, there is a very fair chance that if you ask exactly what you want, the other person might give you, or they might not, but there is still a chance that they will give you if you are very clear about it. But on the contrary, for some reason, maybe the ego comes, so there are many reasons for that, but for some reason people stick to this indirect way of communication. I'll give you some simple examples. For example, I believe most of you are using, not most of, all of you are using Facebook, right? So Facebook is a wonderful place to observe people. Like, trust me, I have developed a very good, I can say, a knack of it. Like, without looking at the name of a person, when I see the post, I know this post must be from this person, because there are patterns, and from that patterns, if you see 3 or 4 posts of a person, you can figure out what is going on in their head. So let's say there is a couple, a man and a woman, and the man has just left this woman for another woman. Like, he has just left the family or the wife because the man fall in love with another woman. So instead of doing something about it, I have seen, like, for example, many women in such a scenario, you can notice what is going on in their life. They will start putting Facebook posts like, if you if you make a woman suffer, it will come twice back to you. Or, karma is a bitch and it will come back and bite you. You get what you sow. You reap what you sow. Sorry. So what she's essentially trying to do is, she's trying to give an indirect message to the husband who has left her. Unfortunately, there is no impact of that indirect message. See, communication is supposed to be a tool to help us get what we want from another person. Simply blabbering, simply trying to use different ideas and words and indirectly trying to give message, it does not get you what you want. I have a friend who lives in Canada. He used to study with me in engineering, and he has a peculiar way of making posts. Like every week or so, there will be one post from him. Of course, this post he is not writing himself. People try to find it from, they share from somewhere. So, but the theme of his post always would be parents. The girl's parents should stop trying to interfere between her and her husband. Like probably his mother-in-law and father-in-law, they must be influencing somehow, or at least that's how he feels, that they are influencing his wife so much, and they have some problems and some troubles between them, and that is why he's making this indirect post. Like he's trying to tell his wife by making such posts what is he achieving. I mean, why would you make such a post? What you're trying to do is you want the world to know, but not exactly world. You want one particular person to know. Have you done that in the past? Like, have you made some post or message to a group of people, but basically it was aimed at one particular person? Then you know what I'm talking about. People, they try to make very generalized statements, very generalized communication, hoping that this other person will get my meaning from this thing. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen, that doesn't work, and you do not receive the response that you are wanting. So my whole point is that when it comes to communication, there is nothing better than being as direct as possible. And by direct, I don't mean you have to damage them. I mean, truth doesn't have to be fiery. But the important thing is to be as direct as possible, as clear as possible, and to communicate to the one who has any influence on the situation, not to the whole world. When we were in a meeting in Latvia, someone said that in the early stage of my relationship, my husband would bring me flowers and gifts, and it made me feel so good that he's paying me attention, and I would still like to have them, to receive them, but for some reason it has stopped, and now he's not bringing them. What can I do? I still love to get those things. I still love to be given flowers and given attention and gifts and taken out. And in spite of my asking him, it's not happening. What to do in such scenario? Well, if you communicate to someone what you want and yet you are not getting it, there are three possible reasons. Reason number one, the other person clearly understands what you want, but they don't want to give you. Second reason, the other person clearly understands what you want, they want to give you what you have asked for, but for some reason they don't have the resources to give you. And the third reason, somehow, in spite of telling them what you want, you haven't been able to get that message into your head. That means you haven't been able to communicate the meaning, what exactly you are looking for. You have simply told them. So telling or saying is half the part of communication. It is not full communication. Communication means words or ideas come out from you, they reach another person, and you get a response from them. Now it is possible, for example, if you ask someone something and they may say no. Now that is not your business. You remember, we talked about it. It's possible they just don't want to give you, or they don't have the resources to give you. So there is not much we can do in a scenario when another person does not want to comply with you, or they don't want to deliver you what you want for whatever reasons they have. But this is not the main problem. The real problem in relationships would be when we simply think that I said. So we believe that just because I said, I should get it. Not exactly, because you say does not mean the other person got the same message with the same intensity. Because had that person got intensity, you would have received at least some response. So to clearly convey does not mean simply using the right words to get your message out. It also means to find the right way that this message is received by other person. There are 7 billion people here on this planet, and every person is like a different lock, and every lock has a different key. So it is not possible that you cannot communicate to all the people in the same manner. Every person it's a different key that opens every person. And not also, even with the same person, there are different keys in different situations. For example, look at it. You would communicate to your child in one manner, but then you would communicate to your partner in another manner. And then when you go out and work, you would communicate with your boss or your client in yet another manner. Now, you will not communicate the same way with your client or with your boss the way you are doing with your child. And why wouldn't you do that? Because you know that the way to get a message to a child is a different way than the way to communicate or to get the message in the head of a client or a boss. My point is, we have to be very creative. Communication, believe me, communication is a very creative process. Good communicators are not the people who have very good words or very good vocabulary. On the contrary, vocabulary can be a hindrance in communication. Very good communicators are the people who have the ability to convey an idea, the same idea, to different kind of people using different approaches, whatever is required. So that's why it's a very creative process. It's like there is no master key of communication. You need to learn how to open these locks. You need to be a locksmith for every person. And that's why I'm saying that communication is a very, very creative process. But anyways, the whole point of communication should be that you devise a way by which your idea is received by the other person, in this case your partner, and you get the response you want. Now, when it comes to response, a lot of people think that with love everything changes. For example, and it's true in the beginning, in the early phase of the love, when you are still dating, every demand that you make is fulfilled, and it's wonderful. But when this high passion is subsiding, and you come to the base state, somehow your words don't reach the other person. That's because, you see, people do things for two reasons. That's it. There are only two reasons why people do. Because they like something, or they are afraid of something. The principle of pleasure and pain. And you have to be creative. You have to devise your keys using the principle of pleasure and pain with every other person. Just imagine, if your government would one day declare that, we love you and you are all free citizens of our country, so from now on we are removing all the cameras from everywhere, and no one will be watching you, and there are green lights and red lights, but we just leave on you to follow them. Nobody will watch you. There is no police standing there. We just trust you. Do you think that people will take it nicely? Do you think that people will be responsible enough and follow all the rules? No, people don't follow the traffic rules because they understand that, oh, if I don't follow, I may get into accident and I may get hurt. No, people follow them because something is at stake there. If they do something long enough, or if they repeat certain kind of mistakes, their license could be taken away, or they could go to jail. What I'm trying to say is that many of the things we don't do just because we love them. Many of the things we do because something is there at stake. Something could be lost if we don't do something very important, could be lost if we don't follow those things, or if we don't do this thing. So this is what I'm telling you. If you want to be creative with your communication to try and get things done in the right manner, this is not manipulation. This is a simple, this is how world works. World works with love and with fear, with pleasure and with pain. You try with pleasure. If it doesn't work, take out the second counterpart of it, show them what is at stake here. One of the reasons many people don't do, husbands or wives, they don't respond to the demands is simple because they feel it's taken for granted. Like, where is she going to go now? They feel very, very secure, and the sense of security softens them, and they stop listening to you. Don't give them this false sense of security. Make them know what is at stake. Make them know that the entire relationship and the entire past that you have had with them could be at stake in certain situations. I'll tell you a very practical approach that I devised in my relationship. I figured out very early on that this could be a problem if we don't do something. So it's a very simple plan that we devised. That, let's say, there is always something that we want from another person, right? So you ask them, and sometimes they would say no. So what we decided is that, yes, of course, we both have this possibility to say no, but then with every demand, like whenever something is really important, we'll try to give it a rating from 1 to 10. 10 on 10 means it is so important for me that everything is at stake here, right? So for example, if I want something, let's say I would like to go on a trip to a particular place, and I would say that let's go by car, and she would say no, I would like by a flight. Why to waste 8 hours by journey, this and that. And I would say that, see, if we are going on a vacation, for me, going by road, I'm the one driving, going by road is a 10 on 10. Now it could be used on simple in simple situations of life. What 10 on 10 means is that it is so important for me that I don't want to have this thing without this particular thing. Now if going by flight is not 10 on 10 for her, she is going to comply with me. She will agree to that. And in the same manner, there are things for which for her it is going to be a 10 on 10. And when that comes, I must understand that something very big is at stake here. Maybe the entire plan will crash here if I would not give her what she wants in this life. And remember, I said you that it is eventually about give and take. If you are not able to get something, it is because you are not able to convey that it is very, very important to you. All you have to do is find a way, devise a way, by using the principles of pain and pleasure, both of them. You have to unlock the mind of your partner. That is the only solution, my friends. I believe there, a lot can be said about communication, and we still have several days left here, so we will try to cover them in future videos. But for today, I believe that shall be all. I'll be back tomorrow with something more on the causes of unhappiness that comes from relationship and how we can eliminate them. Until then, have a great day. Thank you very much.